Welcome to this Saturday's travel and history tip, and this will be part 3 of our travels up Highway 83, the road to nowhere. And if you notice, my poor green sunglasses are cracked and glued, and I'm going to have to retire them. In part 1, we took you to Shamrock, Texas, to the quaint town with a Blarney Stone. Last Saturday was part 2, when we took you to Dorothy's house. As we traveled north on Highway 83, we went to the Little Jerusalem Badlands State Park and Monument Rocks, and this is where we will take you on US Highway 83, Part 3. One of the roadside stops and interesting places is called the Keystone Gallery. It is north of Scott City, Kansas. It's a combination of an art gallery, a fossil museum, and a souvenir shop, and it is owned by Barbara Shelton and Chuck Bonner. The interesting thing is that the Bonner family has been hunting fossils since 1928, and they used to lead fossil hunting and camping tours in their Chevy Suburban to Monument Rocks. This family actually owns the land that hosts Monument Rocks. We wanted to go to the Keystone Gallery because they have fabulous fossils on display, but unfortunately they were closed. But we did see the Chevy Suburban. Obviously they are evolutionists, and that's fine. This Suburban is all painted up, and it's actually quite funny. Prairie Ocean, long time no see. They have all kinds of silly evolution stuff on there, but it's kind of cute. There's the black hole, and technically that's much more scientific than the black holes that they do talk about. As you can see, the Logan Bonner family does own the land along the Smoky Hill River that contains Monument Rocks. But again, they were closed, unfortunately, and we found out through a person that we met that they just took off and went on a little vacation. But anyway, we went to the Little Jerusalem Badlands State Park. This park was established by the Kansas legislature in 2018, so it is a very new park. It contains 332 acres and contains 220 acres of badlands. And as the park site says, which can be found on ksoutdoors.com, this is a project between the state of Kansas and the Nature Conservancy, and they are protecting this fragile and ruggedly spectacular geologic formation that is adjacent to the 17,290-acre Smoky Valley Ranch. The park showcases a mile-long stretch of 100-foot-tall spires and cliffs of eroded Niobrara chalk. We will be doing a nugget specifically on the geology and the evolutionary mindset that is attached to these features here and in Monument Rocks. But for today, we're going to talk about just the beauty of this park. After paying the daily vehicle fee of $5, we continued on and parked. There was something really neat at this park. It had leave your mark here, and they had these sandstone rocks out there that you could scratch and mark on. So, of course, I had to do that. I put our initials in there, and I thought that was really cool. It kind of got that out of your system. We went down to the cabana area where there were a couple of signs, and one is welcome to the Little Jerusalem Badlands State Park. We did take the Life on the Rocks trail, which is approximately 1.5 miles, and we did the Overlook trail. And you don't actually get to go down through them, but just to overlooks to see these features. And a lady that we were speaking to that had told us about the Bonner family, she said that when she was younger, they walked all through it, but now that it's a park, they've limited access to it. And sadly, that is necessary in a lot of places because people do destroy things. And then they have a sign that talks about nature's forces at work, creative handiwork of water and time. Well, it is definitely the creative handiwork of water, but not too much time. And again, we'll get with that on a nugget. The finest workers in stone are not copper or steel tools, but the gentle touches of air and water at their leisure with a liberal allowance of time. Henry David Thoreau. Well, the problem is, Henry David Thoreau, it isn't a liberal allowance of time. It's Noah's Great Flood. And as a little side note, we have actually been to Henry David Thoreau's grave and many other famous poets and authors of his time frame. And maybe on a Saturday, I'll take you to that. Another sign talked about a tale of two grasslands and the mixed grass prairie and the short grass prairie. And the grasses here were beautiful. I just love these kind of features, and I hope that you all will have an opportunity to see these badland features, whether they're here in Kansas, in South Dakota, or North Dakota. And we have been blessed to see them in all 3 of these places, and in Montana. But after leaving there, we took off to Monument Rocks, 7 miles southeast, as the sign says. Turned right and went down this dusty road at the sign. The Monument Rocks are the prime topographical feature of the Smoky Hills, and they are called the Chalk Pyramids or Monument Rocks. The old WPA Guide to Kansas called them the Kansas Pyramids, and they reach heights of 70 feet above the plains. The pyramids are on private land, but access is not restricted. However, there are no facilities. As I show you pictures of this beautiful place, I want to read read to you my Dana-Dote entry in the Kansas section of Off and On the Beaten Path, the Unclassic Road Trip, Central United States. And if you don't have these books, you might not know what a Dana-Dote is, but a Dana-Dote is most commonly known as an antidote. It is an interjection to add a bit of personal humor and or experience from my travels back and forth across the lower 48, off and on the beaten path. And this is the Kansas entry. All excited to see Monument Rock's national landmark, we headed south on US Highway 83 from Oakley for 20 miles. We turned left at the road leading 8 miles in a southwesterly direction toward the rocks. After 1/4 mile down the dry, dusty road, and with a billowing cloud of dust encircling the sides and rear of our motorhome, we all got quiet. Knowing how I was really looking forward to seeing these Niobrara chalk cliffs, Steve continued driving at what seemed like a desert tortoise pace. With dirt being forced into every nook and cranny of our motorhome, we took a right when the road T-boned. After driving another mile and the apprehension building, Steve turned to look over at me in the passenger seat. At the split second before he could speak a word, I caught a glimpse of a rock formation and pointed quickly while exclaiming, "There it is!" As we neared what I was pointing to, we saw a formation about the size of a washing machine. At this point, I did not know what to do except say, "They did say it was 8 miles off the highway." My mind raced. Can this really be all there is to see? With undoubtedly a huge cleaning task ahead of us, what were a few more miles? Finally, in the distance, we saw our desired destination. The unique rock formations are definitely worth the effort to go see. That little story was from many years ago on our first trip to Monument Rocks. It has continued to be a fond family memory all of these years, and it was very exciting to go out to Monument Rocks again. But this time when we went, there were a lot of other people there, and we did see the sign. It said, "Please note, Monument Rocks is located on private property. The owners graciously allow any and all to come to visit this wonderful landmark. In order to preserve the site for future generations, observe the following rules," and they have rules. Visiting hours are sunrise to sunset. As many places say, take only pictures, leave only footprints. They had some old pictures of the rocks taken from the 1890s and from when the Oakley School Group visited in 1926. And one of the unique things that we saw were all these swallow nests that swallows had built on one of the arch area formations. We have seen the swallows of San Juan Capistrano at the beautiful mission in California. And at some point, I will take you to the beautiful California missions. But as for today, American history. Learn it. Love it. Appreciate it. Don't let them steal our history. Treasure our American history. And if you appreciate our content, tell others and repost on your social platforms. Help us to spread the word of this beautiful nation and its history and its geography and geology from a creationist point of view. Our YouTube channel is Steve Groman. Be sure to hit the notification bell to be alerted when we post new nuggets in Saturday history and travel tips. Thank you.